Allison almost didn't sign up. The paper had been passed around the circle at the bookstore, a sheet with names already scrawled across it in every kind of handwriting, loopy, jagged, hurried. Mariah nudged her with an encouraging grin. Go on. Just write it. Allison's pen hovered over the page. Her pulse raced. She could almost hear her excuses forming, not ready, not good enough, not yet. But then her name appeared, shaky but real, at the bottom of the list. She wanted to snatch the paper back, to scribble it out. But Sam had already taken it, passing it to Jules. The moment was sealed. In the days leading up to the open mic, Allison carried her notebook everywhere. She read passages aloud in her apartment, her voice bouncing awkwardly off the walls. She stopped, started, crossed out whole paragraphs, rewrote them in tighter, sharper lines. At night, she lay awake imagining the microphone, the spotlight, the faces turned toward her. Her stomach knotted at the thought. More than once she told herself she'd back out. No one would blame her. She could send a polite email, say something had come up. But each time, she remembered Mariah's words, "You're closer than you think." On Thursday, the group met as usual at the bookstore. Conversation buzzed with nervous excitement, everyone who had signed up was jittery. Jules confessed she had already rewritten her piece 3 times. Ravi joked about fainting on stage. Even Sam admitted he still got stage fright, even after years of reading. "You'll do fine," Sam told Allison quietly. "The first time's always the hardest. After that, you realize it's not about perfection. It's about honesty." Allison tucked that sentence away like a talisman. The night of the open mic arrived with October chill, sharp and insistent. Allison stood in front of her mirror, clutching the outfit she had laid out, simple jeans, a soft sweater, her hair pulled back. She wanted to disappear, but she also wanted to be seen. Her reflection looked pale, but her eyes were bright. "Just read," she whispered to herself. "Just breathe." The venue was a cafe a few blocks from the river, dimly lit with strings of warm lights. The air smelled of espresso and cinnamon. Chairs were arranged in rows, a small stage set at the front with a single microphone and a stool. Allison's knees nearly buckled when she saw the crowd. It was larger than she'd expected, at least 40 people, maybe more. Mariah spotted her immediately, waving her over. "You made it," she beamed. Allison managed a nod. Her hands were already clammy. The event began. The host welcomed everyone, the first reader stepped up, and Allison felt her heart pounding so loudly she was sure the whole room could hear it. One by one, voices filled the cafe. Poems about childhood, essays about heartbreak, stories threaded with humor and pain. The audience listened, laughed, clapped warmly. Her turn crept closer with every name called. She gripped her notebook so tightly her knuckles ached. Finally, next up, Allison Reed. The words felt unreal. Her legs moved without permission, carrying her toward the stage. The room blurred, the lights too bright, the microphone taller than she expected. She adjusted it with trembling fingers, opened her notebook, and forced a breath. "Hi," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. This is something I wrote recently." She began to read. The words shook at first, but they steadied as she continued. She read about mornings that still carried the echo of loss, about coffee cups set out for someone who would never come back, about running along the Charles River and realizing her heartbeat was her own. She wrote of grief not as an enemy to be defeated, but as a shadow that softened when shared. By the time she reached the last line, the room was utterly still. "I am learning," she read, "that the heart does not heal by erasing love, but by carrying it forward into the places where silence waits to be filled." She closed the notebook. For a breathless moment, no one moved. Then the room erupted in applause, warm, sustained, real. Allison's eyes stung. She bowed her head slightly, whispered, "Thank you," and stepped off the stage. Her hands were still shaking when she sat down, but inside, something had shifted. She had done it. After the event, strangers approached her. A woman touched her arm and said, that was exactly what I needed tonight. A young man told her he'd lost his brother last year and her words made him feel less alone. Allison listened, nodded, held on to their words like gifts. For the first time in months, she didn't feel like her pain was isolating her. It was connecting her. Later, the group gathered at their usual cafe. The mood was electric, everyone buzzing with relief and pride. Mariah raised her mug. To Allison. For her first reading. The table clinked mugs together, laughter spilling into the air. Allison blushed, but she couldn't stop smiling. That night, back in her apartment, she set her notebook on the table and stared at it. She thought of the girl who had nearly deleted the invitation email weeks ago. The girl who thought she'd never belong anywhere again. Now, her name had been called. Her voice had filled a room. People had listened. She realized she had stepped through a door tonight, one she hadn't even known was waiting for her. And beyond it, she sensed, was a whole new world. Allison turned off the light, her chest rising with a steady, quiet breath. For the first time in a long while, the future didn't look like an empty room. It looked like an open stage.